Hello, everybody. Welcome to Merely Surviving to Successful Thriving. This is Diane and Jen. Good morning. Today's Friday. We decided to do our podcast today, try it out. Our friend Jen here is in sunny Florida now, her new residence, and I'm up here freezing my butt off. Yay for you. Good. She's outside. Okay. So today we just wanted to have some fun and relax and sit and have our coffee and talk about our funny times throughout life, things that just made us chuckle and laugh, things that were embarrassing, things that just made us really laugh. And I have a whole bunch of them, and I'm sure you do too, because you know what? If we can't have fun and laugh at ourselves in this life, what do we got really? You know what I mean? So I guess I'll start off with mine. Remember, you can listen to our podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. We're everywhere. And then we post this YouTube video on Facebook. So, back in the day, I was a big partier. I'm sure everybody knows I'm a wide open book about that. And I remember going to a club in New Jersey with my girlfriends. I had two very special and three or four really very special girlfriends that I went out with every weekend, and our goal back then, when I think about in hindsight, your goal was just to find a guy. That was it. There was no other goals, like you had to look.
And get free drinks from them.
Yeah, find somebody and get free drinks from them. And then they had to be good looking. They had to be like, I don't know. I don't want to use like poor language, but we were like, call them a Goomba. You know what I mean? Like they had to look like, what do they call that? I forget, but they had to be like,
Guido.
hot. Yeah, Guido. That was it. Like a Guido, and the more Guido, the better, and it didn't matter how they treated us either. That was just not even, we didn't even care about that. They just had to look good and we had to look good because they looked good. That was it, bottom line. So we'd go to this club, and at this particular club, there was like a big, long staircase going down the steps, and that's where the bathroom was. So I went to the bathroom, and on my way down, I had these high heels on and a short mini skirt, and I just went down. Pretty much like a real sloppy-looking cartwheel upside down, all the way down to the bottom of the stairs, and at the bottom of the stairs it like turned around a little bit too, and that was hysterical. And by the end of that landing, I had a bloody lip, a fat bottom lip, and a bloody lip, and a scraped up bloody knee, and I'm sitting there on the floor, pretty toasted, saying, we got to go up. There was a song playing that I could hear. I think could have been a live band there at the time. I don't even remember. I'm like, we got to go up and do that. Let's go, And there was no embarrassment at that point. I mean, I was wasted. So, and on my way up the stairs, that's when I received really funny things, because there were guys there at the top of the stairs that were looking. Because remember, I'm wearing a mini skirt and I'm upside down, so you do that visualization there and figure out, like I got like 5 or 6 phone numbers that day, and I was glad to have gotten those numbers too. Like when I look back, I'm like, they're like, all right, we just saw somebody's thing over there, let's get her number, you know what I mean? And it was hysterical. Those girls never let me live that down, Jen. I mean, I was just, and then, I used to be angry too, because, the next day when you come to, you're like, what just happened? And then they told me, and I was like, whoa. And then I got angry because I'm like, let's just not talk about that, okay? And today I look back and it was just hysterical. Anything that you did or you can remember from,
I could
your life?
a lot of things that I did in my life. Like I remember I was in California for a while back when I was like 18, and we were going to clubs in Tijuana like every night of the week, drinking, drinking, drinking. And this one night in particular, I was really wasted. So some of my friends were ready to leave. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I walked them out. So when I went to go back inside the club with the rest of my friends, the bouncer was like, "Oh, the club is filled to capacity." So I was like in a panic. So I go to a payphone. Now, mind you, I'm in Tijuana, Mexico. I go to the payphone and I call my mom on the phone, in the middle of the night, like, "Ma, I'm lost in Mexico and I need some money." Well, no sooner did my friends notice, my other friends that were still up there noticed that I was missing, so they came down and got me, and I end up hanging up on my mother, leaving her just like, wonder where her kid is lost in Mexico. Who does that? And but that's how I lived. And for so many years, I was doing stupid things like that, and I thought I was having fun, and it all seemed fun. But like today, I find different ways to have fun, and I'm
Mm,
blessed. You know, respectable ways to have fun. I have more self worth today, because back then, I don't know. Like it all started out bad, and then each poor choice that I made led me down to more poor choices and more poor choices, like, you know, who I picked as a spouse, um, even like
mm,
jobs, just everything. And then living a miserable life, you want to party a little more just to deal with it. So that's right. I'm turning funny into sad right now, but there's,
no.
we could talk about happy right now because, like, I did the unthinkable. I can't even imagine what I did. I've been saying I would like to move to Florida, and here I am, and I'm in a better house than I've ever lived in my life. I have I have my car in a garage right now. It's my garage. It's like,
Mm,
um, I can't even wrap my head around it, and like there's so many fun things to do here for me and my daughter, and we're gonna make like new memories, and I think it's just all my poor choices in my life led me up to this, to live the rest of my life.
yeah,
Like I got to do over.
yeah.
So I don't regret everything that happened in my past because it was leading me up to this moment. And I learned from every single one of those things that I did, the funny and the not so funny. I
Oh,
remember one time I was driving home. I don't know if you remember these drinks. They used to give me mind erasers. It was like my 21st birthday.
uh,
Oh, well, they do work. They erase your mind. I'm coming back from, we were at Hunka Bunk. I have one hand over my eye like this. So I get pulled over, and they were less strict back then. The cops pull me over. I'm like, it's my birthday. And he was like, "You're drunk." And I was like, and he was trying to be nice to me. He's like, "I'll let somebody else drive your car home." I was like, "Oh no, you can't do that. They're all drunk and I'm okay."
uh,
But, like
it's funny.
stupid things like that, like it sounded logical to me to tell him
Yeah.
I'm okay. I have my one hand over my eye, I can't see. And the rest and everybody else, and my hair is a mess. I was all sweaty. That's when we saw
Because
that.
dancing, like
Yeah,
you danced your ass off at Hunka Bunka.
yeah. So I said,
Like I lived in that place.
I know I must have looked like a hot mess trying to tell the cop that I'm. But he did let me go. I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't even know how or why. And he's just like, "Be careful and drive slow."
So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what happened. The same thing happened to me. I got pulled over after I left. I don't think it was Hunka Bunka that night. I think it was a place called Cocktails. It was in South River, I think. And I my car hit the median in the toll booth at East, at that toll booth there in East Brunswick, and there was a cop right behind me, following me right to and all I did was cry my eyes out because I knew as soon as he pulled me over, I'm like, I am screwed. You know what I mean? And it was just like despair, like, oh my God, because I never, at that point, I'd never lost my license or anything like that. Like, so he let me go. He got on his knee down in front of my driver's side window and said, "Are you going to be okay?" He just saw me crying my eyes out. "Are you going to be okay to drive?" And then my tears just dried right up, and I'm like, "Yeah, I think so."
Oh yeah.
And then he sent me away, and I remember seeing right now in like the picture in my mind all the lines of the highway of the parkway swerving in front of me, that my car was not. Do you know, like I can see it happening. Like I could see my car going in and out of the lanes, not in the lanes at all. I could hear the brakes or I mean, I could have just killed myself or killed somebody. And then the first thing I did that night was go right to my boyfriend's house, knock on his window, and he let me in. He's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "No, I had a really bad night." You know what I mean? Like that was my thing. That was what I did. And then Hunka Bunka was where we used to go to dance all the time, see all those bands. There was always live bands there, like back in the 80s,
Yeah.
early 90s. I mean, you had like all the freestyle people. I was into freestyle. I was into like Cynthia, George Lamont, and like like the Backstreet Boys. I mean, they weren't there because they were too famous at the time. They wouldn't show up there. But you got like Cynthia, George Lamont. There's other ones I can't even think of them. But we had such a blast going there watching. We'd follow George Lamont everywhere he went. If he went somewhere else, we went and watched him too. And I have all of his music downloaded on my iTunes right now. I still listen to that stuff because it was fun. It was like a fun time. And I was always the one barfing somewhere. And my biggest barfing spout was probably when we graduated high school. My friends had a car, so we went to Staten Island because at that time you could get into bars in Staten Island. And we went to this bar, and I just remember being in the parking lot ready to go after, and I'm sitting in the passenger side of my girlfriend's car, and there's this guy trying to talk to me through the window, and I just felt it coming up, and I'm talking to him, and I just said, "Excuse me," and I opened up the door and hit him with the door and barfed all over his feet.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, and and then he was like, "Jesus, God, what the hell?" I'm like, "Can we just get out of here?" And then we left, and my friend Sherry, she was like, "I gotta get up in the morning. Why are we out this late?" Like it was just really funny because she was older, she was a little older than us. She had already graduated, and she was, she had to get up for work the next day. It was just hysterical. And, like there's a lot of funny times. I mean, it's like not even back when I used to drink a lot, but just little things with my daughters when they were little. I can tell you a little funny story there. Do you know the cereal Cocoa
Yeah.
Puffs, right? So I love the cereal Cocoa Puffs, and so did my daughters, and I only gave it to them because I feel like it's just like eating candy. You might as well just eat a Hershey's bar for breakfast. You know what I mean? Like, so I had it for like a special treat, I let them have it every single day. You know what I mean? So, but Cocoa Puffs, when you see a Cocoa Puff on the floor, you gotta hear this. There's a cat. We had a cat, and the cat, you know what I mean, would miss, and there'd be like these little pellets on the floor, and I would have to clean. I'm like, she picked one of those babies up and put it in her mouth. Because she thought it was a Cocoa Puff, because we used to drop them all over the floor. I'm always sweeping them up and this and that, and she put one in her face. She went like that. Her cute little face, and I was just like, "Oh my God!" And I went in her mouth and just grabbed it out of her mouth. You know what I mean? I just went, took it right out of her mouth, and then washed her, brushed her teeth, and all that. It was just hysterical, and like that's like an ongoing family fun thing. Like, ugh, it's funny. And then we just had something funny happen with us. If you're okay if I talk about it.
No.
Like go ahead, you start because it's I want you to tell,
All right. Oh,
say it. Go ahead.
I have to move, right? And like, let's not forget that I did only a month ago have a full knee replacement, and I have a whole entire house to get rid of. So I asked my husband, you know, you could do something to help here. Like, there's certain things that are yours that you could come here and get rid of. He doesn't. The one being the king size mattress and box spring. And I'm like, I have to get rid of this shit because, and you can't put it outside because you would get fined for leaving it, in front of.
Yeah.
And, you know, his girlfriend did text me saying, "Ha ha ha, I fucked your husband on your mattress." So I was like, that gets me thinking. Maybe that mattress is going to be yours now to deal with. Now, meantime, like, keep in mind, these two losers are renting a room, not renting an apartment, renting a room in somebody else's house. How sad is that? So go ahead. What happens next, Diane?
So we were all, me and my daughter went over to Jen's house to just help, whatever help we can do with moving and stuff. And Jen rented a U-Haul, and we helped her son a little bit, put his stuff in there so he could move, and because he's older, so he's pretty established up here. So we helped him out, and then the movers were there and everything, and they decided, she decided that, like, we can get these movers to just at least put the mattress in the U-Haul, so at least we don't have to carry it down the stairs. So they did. They put it in the U-Haul for her, and later that night after they left, it took a long time for them to get everything out because they were really good at what they did. They wrapped everything up really tight. It took them like 5.5 hours or something to do it, and I stayed because I wanted to be a part of taking that mattress and making sure that it got back to Paul, and rightly so. It's his. He bought it. He wanted it. He slept in it with multiple women, so he should have it back, right? It's only fair. So let's see if we can get it back. So we put it in the U-Haul, went over there at like 10 o'clock at night. There was nothing over there. It looked like no one was home. It was only 10 o'clock at night, so it looked like no one was home, or maybe they were, but whatever. And we just opened it up, and it was just a scene. It was like, if I could be outside of my body and look from above, it's hysterical. Like, here I am, I'm in back of the truck. My daughter's still with us. She's 19. She's sitting in the middle of the 2-bucket seats on the floor, and like incognito. I'm like, you wait here. And I get out of the U-Haul and I go in the back, and then there's a 2-box spring and a mattress, and I'm pulling it out, and Jen's inside helping push while I pull the both things out. I pull the mattress, like, come out here, help me flip it. And she comes outside and she helps me flip the king size mattress over onto the lawn, and then she goes, get in the car, ready to leave. I'm still out there, and I'm like, wait a minute, don't we have to close the the hatch in the back of a U-Haul? She's like, don't worry about it, let's just go. And I'm like, okay. So I run up and I get in the car and I shut it, and she's like, oh my God, let me tell you, that was hysterical. And Maddie's in the car like, oh my goodness, and then we leave, and then I look back and, like, it was like this Thelma and Louise move, like both of us just like doing this thing, and it's like, we didn't really do anything wrong. It's his mattress, but it was fun. It was fun that we just returned it.
I was court ordered to give him his belongings back, and that belonged to him. And as far as it belonged to her too, nasty pig. They could sleep on the front lawn with it.
Yeah, and the thing is you wouldn't have done it had he been such a dope, and like, because you asked him politely at one time and said, could you get this mattress out of here?
Yeah.
Just take this out of here. At least one thing to ask him to do. One thing. Yeah. You packed up that entire house, everything, 3 bedrooms, everything. Okay, just take the bed. No. He was like, screw you, you take care of it. Oh, we did.
Yeah.
We took care of it. He's lucky. Yep. And then we almost She had like wet. We almost sprayed it with wet fart spray, but they weren't going to use it anyway. So like I said, you don't want to waste your wet fart spray on them. You're going to put it on somebody else.
Uh, funny.
But it was really funny, and I just had a blast doing it.
Well,
And I went home that night and I couldn't sleep
Diane,
because I was
think
all pumped
I
up.
think too, like that helps me to get rid of some of my anger towards this shit. Like I just
Yeah.
found out too that he canceled my health insurance, so they're trying not to. The hospital's unable to collect payment for my knee surgery, which is completely illegal, and he's going to get in trouble. But it's the shit that he tries to do, and for what? Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
something funny once in a while. It just it just makes
Yeah.
it just makes me laugh, and it just puts things in
Yeah.
perspective. And I'm like, I can't even believe that I was with such a scumbag for so many years. Like, ugh, it makes me I
Ugh.
think about it. Um,
Ugh.
ugh. But as I was taking this ride, I'm in my first stop. I'm like, all right, I stopped at a rest stop in Delaware. I was like, all right, I'm getting further away. And then as I keep going,
Mm.
like, oh, I'm in the Carolinas. Now I'm in Georgia. I will never
Mm-hmm.
live like that again. Never have to
Yeah.
see that again.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's just done.
Mm-hmm.
Not going to suck out.
I mean, it's like serious stuff. It's like domestic violence, trauma, like all of that stuff, all. And it's sad, but like we're able to laugh at it, look back and go, wow, like, you know, I would never put up with that crap today.
Yeah,
And then you almost want to beat yourself up and be like, but why did I? Doesn't matter. You were where you were. Like we were where we were. We were there because we were there. I needed to go through some hard stuff and some um, objectionable, unacceptable stuff in order to find out that I didn't deserve it.
yeah,
Because up until that point in my life, I felt like I deserved, on some level, I felt like I deserved abuse.
yep,
I took high levels of it. You know what I mean? For years, like very high levels. Like I thought that that's what I was supposed to do. I didn't know or eat like the thought that it first of all that it was abuse wasn't even in my mind. Like you have to put names to things, and that's a name. Abuse is a name, and abuse, and I look things up because I'm really analytical like that, and it means the misuse of somebody.
yep.
And
I,
sometimes people do that because of your good nature.
yeah. I was
And
thinking,
like yeah.
like, after we did this, he called my son to ask my son if my son did it, like as if I would have gotten my kids involved in that. How stupid. So, you
Yeah.
know, and it's just the little digs that he says because he belittled me and tried to make me feel so weak for so many years. He told my son, well, I know your mother couldn't have done that because that's way too heavy for her to move. Just like him saying that,
Mm-hmm.
here's a message to him. On a bad knee, I packed up a 3-bedroom house. I got movers. I moved. I drove my car straight through to Florida. I did all that. And yeah, and I could pick up that mattress too. And then some, I have
Yeah.
no idea what I'm capable of.
Mm-hmm.
Just,
Yeah.
and just finally I believe it and I'm doing it and I'm getting results. And I feel, I could do anything I want. I'm not a prisoner
Mm-hmm.
anymore. And I got to keep
Yeah.
the house all on my own.
Mm-hmm.
Good
Yeah.
stuff.
There you go. Yeah, it is good stuff. Like we don't. It's not like necessary that we're imprisoned in that anymore. It's like an imprisonment. It's like you're in like, and when I see other women, like some other women still in a domestic violence issue and never, there's no hope. It looks like there's no hope of them ever getting out of it. And I just remember being at a therapist's office years ago, my ex, and I just remember, but when he's good, he's really good. And when he's bad, he's like really bad. And that was before I knew it. knew what the name of it was, which was domestic violence. You know what I mean? And that's before I knew that. She goes, "Oh, that's what a couple of my domestic violence victims say to me, clients say.
Yep.
The domestic violent victim clients
Yeah.
say." She said, "That's exactly what they say to me. When he's good, he's so good. But when he's bad, he's really bad."
Yep.
You know, that's like bipolar, abusive, mentally ill, addicted, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know that. I thought that you were just supposed to put up with the bad times and just be happy for, and, feel grateful for the good ones, which is how I grew up. I grew up like that.
Terrible.
You know, I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what would make them blow. So I learned how to turn my um, feelings into what would work for them so that I could feel safe. So it was really hard. But anyway, that's about it. I mean, we hope we made everybody chuckle
I
today.
think so.
You gotta
Yep.
laugh. You know what I mean? Like, there's no like they say all the time, you can't make this shit up.
That's right.
We are not making this shit up. This stuff really happened. And we're sitting here laughing about it today because we're people, women who have made it through and became stronger and became closer to, a bigger thing, like God, and we're protected and we're cared for today, and we know it, you know. So, with that, you ready to close, Jen, or do you have
Yeah, I'm good.
anything you want
No,
to add?
I still feel miserable. My throat sounds,
Yeah,
but I just,
I think I gave it to you. You had to get it some way. I bet you. Yeah, I think you got it from us. You were around people who had the flu, people who had this, people had that. It'll take a little bit, but you're in a nice warm climate now.
yeah,
So
I go by the beach.
yeah, so that's good. All right, so we're going to close. Enjoy your week. From merely surviving to successful thriving, we're going to try and post for our usual Wednesdays by next week. I think we should be on target for that. And we love you all. Enjoy your week. Don't go crazy shopping. Don't go crazy overworking. Remember yourself. Remember who you are. And remember whose you are. And we love you very much. Bye.
Bye.